Coming up on Verse Course Verse, part 2, everybody. It's Thursday. You're here. You're ready. Hi, everybody. I am GL. It's great to see you. With us is Evil. Purple is like probably his favorite album, except maybe that other one that came out the last quarter, Jimmy. Jimmy, how are you? How are you so far?
I am so good. This is such a confusing year because I am equally like elated to listen to all this music and exhausted because of how fucking daunting it is. So,
it's so daunting.
Maybe the member berries will ferment enough to make wine out of them. And we'll find by the end of the year some solace in what we've done, what we created for ourselves here.
I think we can. I think it should be pretty easy. We did part 1. We talked about our favorite albums. We talked about, a lot of debuts. We talked about shit like that. We talked about how daunting this is and how this wasn't going to be very organized, but it's actually been pretty smooth, all things considered.
Yeah.
This year's huge, everybody. It's fucking massive. Mm-hmm. And, we're doing it for you just because we love you so much.
We're doing it for the children.
And now we talked about ill communication. Now it's in my head. I'm listening to it now and God, it's good.
Yeah, it is.
Beastie Boys, ladies and gentlemen, Beastie Boys. How is your drink so far? We got to do what's important for the drink day. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Should I go pour more? It's not time to take a break yet. When we take a break, I'll go get some more.
Go pour more. A scale of 1 to 10. How good's that drink?
It's really good. It's a bacon old fashioned. Come on.
Yeah. So he's still on the bacon old fashioned.
Yeah. Hog wild old fashioned is what we're calling it.
Because if you do, it doesn't make sense. Go listen to part 1.
It's bacon fat washed Buffalo Trace, Whistle Pig barrel aged maple syrup, bitters, bitter truth, aromatic bitters is 1 part, Angostura 2 part, and orange peel. That's it.
What's the ABV of the Whistle Pig?
It's just syrup. It's just a syrup that's aged in Whistle Pig barrels.
I thought you had thrown in a dash of. Oh, okay.
No.
That makes more sense.
As instead of sugar or a simple syrup, I use just a bar spoon,
Okay, that's awesome.
A heavy bar spoon of Whistle Pig barrel aged maple syrup.
Evil likes his sweets.
I do. I have a sweet tooth.
Evil has pulled out all the stops, and so have I. I cracked my can. The mountains aren't very blue. That's okay. I'm drinking beer straight from the Rockies.
Yeah.
And no, it's not a political statement. Is that still even a thing? Is Coors Light, Bud Light still a political thing?
I don't think people care anymore.
I think it died when Kid Rock started wearing a Bud Light hat again. I think
like Shane Gillis. When they endorsed Shane Gillis, they everyone's like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because I've never seen that guy on a show where he didn't have 13 fucking Bud Lights in front of him.
Yeah, BLs as he calls them. That guy can fucking put down. He looked, it's so funny.
That dude's gonna die early, and I love him for it. Hey, we've got a few things left to do that are gonna take a while, so we're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna go refill this.
Pour some sugar.
Pour some sugar on it.
We are back. Evil's got more of the old fashioned with a lot of bacon in it.
Yes.
Which, hey, can't go wrong with that. Let's get into it. We've only got 2 things left to do, but it's going to take a while. We've got our top 5 favorite songs of the quarter only. And then we've got our top 10 of the year, which is a King of the Mountain. It's the first 2 quarters together. And there's going to be a lot more albums to talk about than just those 10. So let's start with the favorite songs. I will. Let's see. I have one honorable mention. Do you have any?
I do. I have two. One of them is a cheat, but I have two.
My first honorable mention, and the only reason it's an honorable mention, spoilers for something else in my list, is because there's another song from this album that is in my favorite songs list, and that is Sure Shot by Beastie Boys. I think it's one of the best hip hop produced beats of all time. That flute with it, goddamn, it is the perfect hip hop beat. It's perfect.
It's a great album opener too, right?
Right?
Yeah.
I listened to it last night, and my dog really, really hated the beginning of it, where it's kind of like that, like reversed dog. But yeah, exactly.
I love you.
That's my honorable mention. Like I said, it's probably ruining which song is in my favorites, but
well, we might have
Evil,
the samesies.
We might. Evil. What are your honorable mentions?
Well, speaking of dogs. Coyote America. I mentioned a Coyote book last episode. It's not Coyote Nation. It's Coyote America is the name of it.
Okay.
Also, Hattie, my golden. When we're in nature, I refer to her as the golden coyote because she's exploring herself in the woods. At home, she's just a yard wolf, but whatever. So my cheating
is she a property protector?
She has, for a golden who are like friendly with everybody, she has like serious guard dog urges, especially with Eve. When Eve is with us, she sleeps with Eve at night, and she's very guard doggy and protective.
Gotcha.
Of her. Yeah.
Not so much when I'm here, but when I'm gone, my dog barks at fucking everything.
Yeah. This is the weird conundrum: is she'll bark at anybody who's far away. If they get within 10 feet, she wants to go up and be their best friend. Like,
yeah. Same with my dog.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Broken in, whatever. I love that dog. Honorable mention.
Enough about coyotes.
My cheat, just the Blue album. Because I could pick basically any song from there and have it on my top 5. Really. Yeah. Honestly. That's an album full of singles is what that thing is.
It is. It is. We're going to talk about that one later.
Yeah.
I know. What else do you got?
But I also have an honorable mention, and this is where I lose your respect and maybe as a friend.
Oh no.
It is Jimmy Buffett's song Fruitcakes, and it's because I have deep nostalgia for this song. And the reason why is I have a very good friend. His name's Corey, who moved to Middleton from California when our junior year, and I became really close friends. We have the same birthday. We have always joked that we're twins from different mothers. And he came from Northern California coast and was kind of like a little bit of a surfer vibe. He loved Jimmy Buffett. He has good taste in music besides the Jimmy Buffett thing. He introduced me to Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, blah, 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 a bunch of other stuff. But this album came out that year, and the song Fruitcakes is fucking silly. And I had not listened to it for years. And I'm like, oh yeah, Fruitcakes came out that year. And I listened to it and I was like, oh fuck yeah, I still like this. And I'm not going to deny it. So this is a cheers to my buddy
rest
Corey.
In peace, Jimmy Buffett, and your taste in music.
And it's been good, everyone, listeners. This is probably my last episode. So
yeah. Nope.
Just kidding. No.
Hey, if I can handle Rachel's ongoing obsession with Taylor Swift, I can handle you liking a Jimmy Buffett song. My number 5 favorite song, and you're going to see a pattern here. We'll talk about it in my next song. But we'll talk about it in the next song, deal. Just listen to yourself. My number 5 favorite song is Milquetoast by Helmet. That was one of the first knock me on my ass, not because of how heavy it was, but because of Helmet's usage. Helmet is brilliant at being heavy, but not coming at you. Like the singer sounds so fucking chill. They just have such a we don't give a fuck vibe in their music. And this, I'd never really heard that. And it that song just fucking killed me. That song killed.
Well,
And that's not even talking. It's that guitar lick, that that's just, you're not going to get a better guitar lick than that. You're not. That's my number 5. Evil.
Good number 5.
You like Helmet.
I do like Helmet. They might have something on my list at some point, but not yet. Number 5 is Self-Esteem by Offspring. The Offspring.
Oh, wow. You talk about a song that everybody was obsessed with that would be so embarrassing to like now.
Yeah.
like the content
Yeah.
of the, you know what I mean?
Right.
The content of the song.
Yeah. It's so good that, I mean,
It really is.
it's such a great fucking song.
It is. It's great. No, I love that pick. I love it. I mean, we all know it. That's the thing. There is not, I don't care how old you are, there's not a person listening to this that doesn't know every fucking note of that song.
There's something going on in independent label release. We talked about that, biggest independent label release of all time. There's a looseness in the recording of the music, and there's imperfections in it. And I want to talk more on this when we get to my number 3 pick.
Okay.
My number 3 and 2 have threads that will tie together too. But I want to talk about the imperfections in this a little bit later. I want to hold off on that.
Oh, what's it? Okay, fine. Then what's your number 4?
It is Biscuits for Smut off of Betty, Helmet's album Betty.
Wow. So we were very close to.
I fucking love that song. It's just so fun. Like muted guitar opening and then into the main riff, and more imperfection. It sounds like a demo.
Yep.
And
This whole album sounds like a demo.
God damn it, I love it so much. I fucking love that song.
I do too.
When the
I do too.
bass comes in, they hit that the guitar and bass come together in that main riff. It's killer.
My number 4, and now we will talk about. We already did an episode. We did it last year because my planning was fucked. But Rachel and I did an episode where we talked about the Crow soundtrack, and that soundtrack is why I got Milquetoast. That's how I found Milquetoast. It wasn't because of Betty. It was because of the Crow soundtrack. And I already talked about it in that episode, so go back and listen. But the reason that I went from thinking The Cure was some weird, overrated Friday I'm in Love band to thinking that, oh, they're actually like fucking brilliant is Burn by The Cure. That song is one of the coolest fucking songs. I think it's one of the coolest fucking songs ever, and it's my number 4. Once again, stolen from The Crow, but hey, it still counts, goddamn.
Yeah, it does.
And my number 3, because of my, the reason that Sure Shot was my honorable mention is because number 3 is Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. It's
what are you gonna do?
Like, right? I mean, it might be the coolest fucking. Okay, lots of groups have done really cool rap rock stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really love Run DMC and Aerosmith Walk This Way. I think it's fucking awesome. I love what Anthrax did with Public Enemy. Mm-hmm. I think that this is probably the coolest rock rap song like of all time. Sabotage is my number 3. Evil, what is yours?
I'm excited because I get to do a number 3, number 2 turnaround here, and it's going to make so much sense because what I was kind of getting at with Self-Esteem and how the recording's imperfect. Like you can hear off notes, ghost notes, timing's not quite there. The guitars come in not perfectly. It's not quantized and snapped to a grid. Mm-hmm. My number 3 is Machine Gun Man off of the Pride and Glory album. And what I was saying earlier is like, go fucking watch Zakk Wylde's live performance of that song because the live performance feel has been slowly and meticulously sucked out of music. And I realized that with him because I went down a fucking Pride and Glory Zakk Wylde rabbit hole for a little bit. And talk about we mentioned distractions in the previous episode. How hard it is to study for 94 Q2 because
just a tad.
It pulls you in so many directions. I watched like modern Sons of Anarchy version of Zakk Wylde try to do this song, and he's too perfect. He has perfected his craft as a guitar player so much that it lacks the urgency and immediacy of that MTV Unplugged version of him when he was younger, where when I watch certain guitar players play guitar live and they are like physically playing, like they are like squeezing the notes, squeezing the chords. You can see that in that acoustic performance of him playing this. And if you watch more like recent, his technique is in quotes better, because he's more relaxed and looser and he can play faster and he's more technically proficient, but the music is not making him like, he's not fucking into it as much.
I get it.
You know?
I get it.
And it's not as visceral. If you watch the MTV Unplugged performance back then, Zakk Wylde, long straight hair, clean shaven, playing just him guitar in front of like a stack of speakers, I think, playing this and singing this fucking song.
It's not somebody that's mastered it to the point that it's easy. It's somebody that's still working for it.
Not even he's feeling that music as he's playing it. He is like flexing into the music because it's
his 100th time playing it instead of his millionth time kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. It's not, what's the saying? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. This is, this is an in between. And I feel like technology has made music production so smooth and fast that it sucked the fucking life out of it. It sucked the live performance aspect out of music. Because everything has to be perfect. It has to be snapped to a grid, quantized, auto-tuned. Everything has to be like an AI spitting out.
There are people that can make it work. Like it's actually the opposite. Like we did a quick fire review, and we talked about Jesse, and he does a really good job live because he makes it it's almost like he involves the audience. It's cool. He almost like writes stuff with the fucking crowd in his concerts. It's cool. But unless you're doing that right now, you're absolutely right. You're getting up there. You've got backtracks. You've got everything, even a band like, I guess Muse is a example of where I'm okay with it, because Muse has backtracks, but that if that shit fucked up, they would still pound it out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're pros.
Whereas Coachella just happened, which is just everything that is wrong about music now.
100%.
Is fucking Coachella. And one of the fucking DJs is her like playback shit stopped working. She had to stop her fucking set. She couldn't use the vinyls and she could not DJ.
Right.
She had to stop the fucking set. Like, this is what's happened to music, is if you don't have it preloaded in your computer, that's not live music. That's just like fucking turning on Spotify. Yeah. I don't get off my lawn.
Right. Hey, trust me. So that's my number 3 is Machine Gun Man, Zakk Wylde, Pride and Glory. Let me turn around to my number 2, because I have some very similar things to say about it. Okay, the live performance of this song on, I think it was David Letterman, Late Night with David Letterman in 1994, will blow your fucking mind, because this group are 3 hip hop guys. Like, they're not musicians.
I know exactly what,
in quotes, but they fucking play this song live.
They did.
And
I know exactly what you're talking
about.
And
it's Beastie Boys, it's Sabotage.
It's so fucking cool.
Dude.
It's so cool.
Dude, it's one of my favorite live performances, because you would not expect them.
You can tell they're rookies.
Yeah.
You can tell they didn't give a fuck.
Dirty,
you can tell they're
off and
you can tell
wrong,
he's like barely holding on to a
Yep.
power cord and just fucking. But
you know what
God,
they
it's
do?
so fucking cool.
And I'm like channeling my inner Bill Hicks here. They're fucking playing from their heart.
Yes,
They haven't mastered the performance, and it's just like they're out there, click the button, click whir. They are fucking playing from their motherfucking heart. And I love it so much. And that song just rips. Absolutely rips.
It rips.
Yeah.
That's not even talking about the fucking video that was awesome. Like the 70s cop video.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
God. It was so good. It was
So smart.
Beastie Boys are fucking amazing, man. Okay. I'm doing my 2 and my 1 because there's a theme here. And it's not a hot take. It's just a personal opinion that I will get people agreeing and disagreeing with. But my number 2 is Interstate Love Song. And we've talked about this song a shit ton so far on the pod. We've talked about how it is one of the greatest rock songs ever written. And so I'm not going to keep going into how perfect of a song it is.
You won't have to, and I won't tell you why.
The reason that this kind of tees it up is because my number 1, Evil and I have both been pretty staunch believers in the fact that Interstate Love Song is one of the greatest rock songs of all time. My number 1, I've been dying on the hill, as Evil would say, since it came out, that it is top 5 most perfectly written rock songs of all time. And that is Say It Ain't So by Weezer. It is... Right. It's the perfect fucking rock song. It's completely perfect. The content, the guitar work, the dynamics of it. It's a perfect fucking song. And that's my favorite song of the quarter. Evil, what is your number 1?
I know we're going to talk about the Blue Album even more, but fuck.
We are.
I could have created a dartboard of the songs on that fucking album.
Of Blue Album songs?
Just closed my eyes, thrown a dart in that direction, and grabbed whatever it hit and plugged it in somewhere on my top 5 list. I mean, that's how good that album is.
I am taking my daughter in October to the Moda Center, where after being opened by Flaming Lips and Dinosaur Jr.,
holy shit,
Weezer is playing the Blue Album, song 1 to end.
I'm jealous of you right now.
I can't think of a fucking better concert than that, especially for people our age. Like it does not get better than that. So I'm very fucking excited.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's good. What's your number 1? I have no idea. I'm very intrigued.
You have no idea. You're acting.
Acting.
Yes, you're a thespian right now. I could have easily filled my top 5 with 3, if not more, songs from the album from Purple. I obviously picked Interstate Love Song. We've talked in depth about our praises for the song, the album, everything about it.
It's on the wall. It's a fucking 10 out of 10.
It's a 10 out of 10. I'm wearing the shirt. I got the album behind me. I could have picked Vaseline or Big Empty.
I think it was the highest. It was either that or Super Unknown. That's the highest. I think all 3 of us gave it a 10 out of 10. I think it's the highest rated.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I put Super Unknown above it barely, but
but we had Johnny Vinyl in that episode, and he's a very tough critic. He gave it like a 9.2 or something like that. I know.
So. Well, he is a tough critic. I like that guy.
We still love you, Johnny.
We need to do more with him. But in terms of songs, it does not get better than Interstate Love Song as a song.
It doesn't.
Like you said that we have agreed it's one of the best rock songs ever written. It is. I love this. Building Hills to Die On. That's my new thing. If I build a hill, I will fucking die on the hill. I think it is one of the best songs ever written. Like genre agnostic. It is.
It's like Beethoven's Fifth.
It's a fucking perfect song, man.
It is. It's awesome.
Show me. I don't know anybody who doesn't like this song when they hear it. They're like, oh fuck yeah, that's a great song.
I wouldn't want to know anybody.
Objectively a great. It's a 10 out of 10 song.
Oh yeah.
Is it the best?
In absolute.
Probably not. But it's a 10 out of 10.
Absolutely is.
Yeah.
And I think what makes it even stronger is, all of these fucking bands were so much more respected than Stone Temple Pilots. Like we talked about it in the episode, Stone Temple Pilots.
I want to go back to my live performance rant, because if you watch their live performances of 1994, when Weiland is very clearly high on heroin most of the time.
Yeah.
Folks, don't do heroin. But if you're an artist and you want to be great, maybe you should look into it. I mean, it is...
Maybe dabble.
Be heroin curious, because holy fucking hell. That is...
Oh, how dedicated to your art are you, musicians?
Are you Bradley Noel dedicated to where you will do heroin to become more creative? Knowles, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go fucking watch them on Late Night with David Letterman, on wherever. They're firing on all fucking cylinders. And I could have put Vaseline in there easily as my number one.
Oh, yeah.
Even Big Empty, I could plug in there too. Especially that unplugged performance with Brendan O'Brien. Fucking love that. We've talked about that, but I'm sticking with Interstate Love Song.
I think to this day that even STP had this very, very unfair reputation of being like the fakes and the tools. But I guarantee you, every one of the real bands heard Big Empty and went, Jesus fucking Christ. Like,
more.
I wish I would have
more
written
Crow soundtrack tie-in and praise with Big Empty.
Yep.
The Interstate Love Song music video.
Awesome. It's fucking
That
rad.
might be my favorite music video ever. Because it pulls me back into like just like the silly, like the feather shit that he's wearing and the hat, like the fucking cowboy hat, like I was talking about with the firework that came out.
Like your spring break cowboy hat. That's exactly right.
I've said it before. They were my favorite band of the era. I had to divorce myself from that because I knew where.
Because you knew it was coming.
The end of the story, and I emotionally had to guard myself from it. 10 out of 10. It's so good.
We've got our favorite albums. We've got our favorite songs. We got to do our top 10 and other albums as well. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We are back. Evil has some fun content. Hey, top 10 albums so far of 2024. Now, there's going to be about 70 honorable mentions, so we can start our talk. Evil, one thing I want to start with before your thing, I want to talk first. But no, it's actually more of a question. What is more important to you, or is it equal as a person? This is an extremely broad music question, and it's very philosophical. But are you more of a project that's leading the way, that's starting something, or are you more of the band has perfected what that genre is? The reason I'm asking is because there are two... I'm trying not to give anything away on what's on the top 10 and what isn't, but there are two hip-hop projects from this year. One of them we've been talking about a bunch. One of them we haven't even talked about. We haven't said the name yet. One of them I think was starting a whole new thing. Oh. And one of them was a group that had kind of perfected a specific version of hip hop, if that makes sense. This is very broad. I'm hoping this makes sense. What do you think? What do you like more?
Oh boy.
It's the ever-going conversation of Bleach versus Nevermind, you know? It's like, which one?
Boy, that is a very, very, that's a difficult question because
it's extremely difficult.
Favorite band of all time for me, Van Halen, obviously. Van Halen 1 was the debut that blew everyone's socks off. And yet, an album from this year that I've sung the praises of that I think may be one of the greatest, if not the greatest album of all time, is Super Unknown, which is a band that had perfected their craft. So I think I don't think I can say one way or another. I think it's so situationally dependent that I can't make that call.
That's very fair. I will say that we already talked about these two in the first episode. Go back and listen to them if you want. But two albums that didn't make it onto the top 10, Offspring, Smash, and Park Life by Blur. Those were cusp.
Yeah, they could,
albums.
like to your point, they could be on the list. Yeah. If someone pointed to them and were like, that should be on the top 10. You mentioned the top 3 or 4. Those are albums that could easily be top 10.
I agree. Evil, what about you? Do you have any honorable mentions or anything not on the list you want to talk about?
I do. And this goes back to the conversation we were having. I don't remember if it was earlier this episode or the previous one about how I think it was last episode, how they're being in like essentially the easternmost part of the Pacific Northwest. At the time, my sort of like purview of what was going on in the music industry was, encapsulated by U.S., specifically Western U.S. centric stuff. And so in England, like I found some stuff that I'm like, Jesus Christ, this year, 1994, right? I mentioned Nick Cave
intrigued.
at
I'm
one
very
point.
Intrigued.
The album His and Hers by the band Pulp is fucking amazing.
Yes, good one. Very.
We haven't even talked about Frank Black.
That's a good one.
From the Pixies. His album was also not on my radar.
He's not British, people.
Not British, but like
yes.
No, I'm not. And this isn't British centric. I'm just thinking like I was very grunge, West Coast rap, metal. That was like my sphere of influence. So anything outside of that, whether it's like indie,
Pulp's a good
if
one.
If it's like I mentioned indie because of the Blur thing. Primal Scream and Blur and there's stuff going on, and that wasn't this quarter, but it was this year. There was stuff going on in England that was not amplified in the States the same way.
Well, I think that the popular music at this time, America was kicking the shit out of Europe, but it wasn't because Europe music wasn't good.
Yeah.
And in fact, they were heading for another resurgence. It was just nobody could compete with what had happened. In the early
grunge
90s.
was at peaking. It was a sort of a movement that was at its crest versus something that was starting.
Yeah, there's a lot of albums that we don't. I'm not going to touch on. Like, there's some indie ones. Superchunk.
Yes,
I don't.
On my list.
That album's great.
Checking it off the list.
Sonic Youth had a fucking album this quarter. It's not one of my favorite Sonic Youth albums. Probably like fifth favorite Sonic Youth album. But
that's a good example because I honestly, that's the Sonic Youth album I know because it kind of bubbled up into pop culture.
Was that just because of the timing?
Yes. 100%.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that was kind of on my, and I know you have a take here. There's music that was huge at the time, enormous at the time. Mm-hmm. And we whether
like the Lion King soundtrack,
yes. So Seal's second album was fucking like Kiss from a Rose. That was everywhere. And you know what it reminded me of? Because I remember I obviously lived through this era and it was very pivotal. But when we were doing the episode for 1969, the music that we know from 1969 wasn't necessarily what was huge in 1969.
Yes.
Seal's album made me think of that.
We are very close to being able to talk about one of my favorite soundtracks of all time in Batman Forever. For as okay of a movie it was, that soundtrack was goddamn amazing. And Kiss from a Rose was the fucking song. Yeah. I loved Seal's 91 album, the album that had like Crazy on it. I think Crazy is one of the coolest fucking songs ever written. I fucking love that song. Everything about it. Even just the We're Never Gonna Survive Unless We Get a Little Crazy. That's the fucking rad. That's perfect. I thought this album was kind of him getting boring, but I still fucking like Seal. And I'm not going to contest that Kiss from a Rose was goddamn everywhere for like 2 straight years. It was everywhere.
Huge.
Yeah.
Like enormous.
And it stayed in pop culture too, even as like a joke. Like I'm pretty sure there's probably like shows like Workaholics that have probably used it for something or another. You know what I mean?
It reminds me of your Nick Cave Dumb and Dumber reference,
Exactly.
like that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
It was That's amazing. I love that so much. We opened the first episode with a off-color joke about this because like Aaliyah was huge.
That was her debut album.
Right.
Yeah. She was huge. She was fantastic. It sucks that basically now that justifiably that album is basically taboo now. Cause you can't, like, how the fuck. It's great. It's a great album. It's amazing R&B. She was an insane talent, but the album it's about fucking R. Kelly. Like, you can't, how the fuck do you get past that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's a rough one.
It's a really rough one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to approach that appropriately.
We probably shouldn't
making jokes that are
exactly
definitely not appropriate.
Jokes that are gonna get us in trouble.
Yeah,
it's crazy. The fucking but like Arrested Development had an album. Spin Doctors had an album. Suicidal Tendencies had a fucking album.
Dude, fucking Boz Scaggs had an album and it's good. I listened to it. Really? I'm like, are you goddamn kidding me? Like,
I didn't even see that when I was studying. Yeah. That's awesome. David Byrne had a fucking album.
David Byrne, Bruce Dickinson. This is like in the period where Bruce Dickinson had left Iron Maiden. He has a great solo career, by the way. Like
he does have a good solo career.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, look. This was our top 10 in Q1.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have one. I have one more. I'm looking at
do it
where we're at. Because Hole released Live Through This.
God damn it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
We blew through that one. Yes.
I think before we go to that, I got one more that is like in the same vein as my conversation. Is like, it was not in my bubble. And we have to talk about it, because if we don't, my neighbor might kidnap and kill Dave Grohl, and it's Sunny Day Real Estate, and it's one of, if not his favorite band. Our buddy Tyler, who's been on the podcast before, is a huge Sunny Day Real Estate fan, and he always jokes with me about hating Dave Grohl because Foo Fighters stole two members of that band. And anyway, I had never listened to Diary before, and I did listen to it. What are your thoughts? Give me your thoughts.
Sunny Day Real Estate was right up my alley for the type of music that it is. It's like a more real. I think Sunny Day Real Estate kind of was, and this is going to sound like an insult, it's not. Sunny Day Real Estate was a huge influence for bands like My Chemical Romance and those bands in the 2000s that were like The Used, like super emo-y.
That was good
kind of.
I was going to bring up.
They don't know if they're metal. They don't know if they're punk. Yeah. They don't know if they're just sad emo music. That's Sunny Day Real Estate. But this album, it's that before it was fucking nerd,
cliche,
like whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yes. Before it was cliche.
Yeah.
There's a feel of music, and you talked about it, how it's a little unpolished and it's a little dirty and it's a little more. Mm-hmm. There's a feel of the album it's Diary, right? That came out this year.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a feel of that album that it has that early 90s demo-y feel. Mm-hmm. And I love it. I do too.
The musicianship is undeniable. I totally see how and what this album and the band influenced. And when I was listening to it, it reminded me of when we were doing Q1. There was an album that I had that was always on my radar, but I never really gave a chance. And it was Therapy's Trouble Gum. And listening to it, I'm like, oh, fuck. I really wish I would have listened to this back then, because I can tell this is not going to become one of my favorite albums ever. But if I had grown up with it and aged with it, it would have been in my DNA. And I totally get where Tyler's coming from with his love for Sunny Day Real Estate, because the fucking musicianship is amazing. It is definitely paving the way with some stuff. I love the drum sound on it, particularly, and that he went off and became the drummer for Foo Fighters before Taylor. You know, it was produced by Brad Wood, who produced American Thighs. He also produced Liz Phair's first album. I mean, it was a sub pop album. Like everything about it, I'm like, I get it. But I'm just not like, the vocal performance is not my thing. I'm not emo screamo, tickle me emo Jimmy. I'm evil Jimmy. So there's that disconnect that's it's never going to be a favorite album of mine, but I'm glad I listened to. I get it, and I just want.
I think that's where I am with Sunny Day Real Estate. Is I get it.
Yeah.
I disagree with people that. Well, at the same time that he didn't steal. What's the fucking Germs guitarist? What's the guitarist that was in Nirvana?
Pat Smear.
Pat Smear. Like, he brought them in same time. Like, but. It just doesn't. Just be happy for the fucking guys that they went into the Foo Fighters and now they're kabillionaires, you know? Our top 10 for Q1 was as follows. Ben Harper's Welcome to the Cruel World, which is amazing.
God damn it.
Mark Lanigan's Whiskey for the Holy Ghost, also amazing. I'm actually pretty proud of us for those.
Yeah.
Motorcade of Generosity by Cake. Blunted on Reality by the Fugees. Prongs
Just
Cleansing.
Fugees and Funyuns.
God damn, a lot of... Under the Pink by Tori. Beck's Mellow Gold. And then we had Dookie, Downward Spiral, and Super Unknown. Very happy with that list, but it has definitely changed. And a few of them have been knocked off. Our number 10 did some of the knocking off, and it is Betty by Helmet, which we've talked about. I think this is a massively underrated project, massively underrated band, and we've pretty much talked about why, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've given up the reins of this list compared to the top 10 list of...
Yeah, this is my list now, motherfucker.
Q1. Helmet is more in my wheelhouse.
Well, for sure.
But I don't know if I would have argued for it to be on the list over some of those others. I'm not contesting things.
Let's say out of no, I know, but I want it to be a conversation. Then I'll make it a simple question. Would you have put Smash by Offspring above Betty by Helmet?
I probably would have.
Interesting.
Even though I would, God damn it.
It's all about, this is best. Like if we're going by fucking sales, Offspring blew it out of the goddamn water.
Ugh.
As an independent album.
Let me color that position with this. I don't know if I would be in that argument. I wouldn't be arguing for me.
I know exactly what you mean. Yes, and I also, just to put it straight up, when I go back and I listen to Betty or Smash, I am thinking, well, Betty's the better fucking album. Like, for sure.
Fair. Okay. I've reconciled this in my mind.
Our number 9 stays on the list from Q1. It does drop quite a bit, though, down to number 9. It is Under the Pink by Tori Amos. It's still a brilliant album. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I don't know. I'm going to have a hard time kicking that one off the list.
I agree. That's a great album.
Actually, our next
fucking rest of the list, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Number 8, also still on the list, also knocked down quite a bit. Mellow Gold by Beck. I still love that album. It's still influential. It's still goddamn awesome. And then this one might get people mad. Our number 7, Dookie. Drops all the way to number 7. There's one album that I think people might argue, like, how the fuck is that above it? But I am very okay with this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I agree, too.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm curious which one you would think people would argue.
I'll tell you when we get there.
Yeah.
My number 5, which is our number 5 now. 6, sorry. Our number 6 now. And this, we haven't even talked about this yet. But this is when I was talking at the beginning of the first episode.
Dude.
I was talking about how hip hop had basically, it had been up and coming thanks to Tupac and Biggie, but I feel like it was around this year, and 93, 94, 95, it just blew the fucking doors off. And this album had a huge hand in bringing, I would say, B.I.G. had become New York's thing. In order for the genre to keep its collective respect, not by music listeners, but just by, the whole, like, once you get too big, people see you as kind of selling out and shit like that. But this had such an underground, this was something that underground people could grab onto. And that's not even talking about how fucking brilliant it is. It's Illmatic by Nas. It's Nas' debut. An insane fucking, I've been listening to it for like half of us doing this episode. It's a fucking amazing hip hop album. It's dark, dirty, gritty New York. It's, B.I.G. wanted to be, he saw West Coast rap. He saw people like Tupac talking about their fucking money and how amazing they are and being like, why the fuck aren't we doing that? That's fucking popular. We need to Ric Flair this bitch. And Nas kept it to that underground feel, that dirty, grew up poor feel of New York. And so that's our number 6. I'm very happy with that being above Dookie. I haven't heard your thoughts at all on this album.
So I like sight unseen. I don't think I'd ever listened to anything off this album before.
Okay.
This is one of those that if someone was like, this needs to be in the top 3 or number 1, I'd be like, you're probably right. After listening to it, like this was the album on the entire list of this quarter that I was the most shaken up by for not having any experience with
prior
it before.
knowledge.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I 100% get it. I get this one will not fall out of the top. I've sort of absolved myself from the top 10 moving forward. This one needs to be on the top 10 at the end of the year.
So I agree. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be there, folks.
Yeah.
I don't think you have too much to worry about.
It's fucking wild.
Our number,
it's so good.
It's amazing. Our number 5, right? Yes. This is the one that I think certain people might have an issue with it being
Sure.
above Dookie.
Yep.
I think it's a much better album. I think I just think it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving Dookie enough credit. It's Throwing Copper by Live.
Yeah. Is Dookie suffering from Offspring syndrome?
I think so. I think probably.
Yeah. I'm okay with that, by the way.
I am too.
With
I
Offspring,
really
I'm
think
not. With Green Day, I am.
I'm sorry. It's going to sound snooty. I don't care. If I put on Green Day, Dookie, and yes, it's great. It's fun. And especially when you get to, I don't remember, it's like song 3 or 4 through like 9 is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like it goes on the biggest stretch in that album. But then when I turn on Throwing Copper and what they're doing in that album at the time, it's so fucking different. It's so unique. We haven't gotten there yet, but we will be talking about Throwing Copper later on in this season. It's so weird, Evil, because we recorded that episode like a month ago, and it's not coming out for like another month.
Oh my God.
So there's more Throwing Copper coming to all you. I know that there are listeners on here that will be like, how the fuck aren't you talking about Throwing Copper? It's coming. It's coming. Don't worry about it. Our number 4, this is basically where it gets to, these 4 are the 4
Yeah.
Our number 4 is Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails. The only reason I'm okay with this is because I think that Downward Spiral is 3rd or 4th best 9 Inch Nails album.
Oh, I get, okay. I feel better now. If that's where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because it would be like,
that's where I'm coming
obviously my number 1 would be Super Unknown. I would probably put this at number 2 and Purple at 3 personally.
Which I get. I just, for me, I think when you're talking about influence, I think Downward Spiral is massive. I still think Pretty Hate Machine is more influential.
It's more, yeah, that's fair.
And then I also think a couple of the albums that Reznor did later they're better albums than Downward Spiral. I think he had figured his shit out. He had calmed down a little bit. That's why I'm okay having this at 4. Well, that as well as the fact that the top 3 are... So here, we're at our top 3 now. I think the album that the people will have the most problem with it being on the top 3 is Purple by Stone Temple Pilots.
Fuck them.
We did our top 10.
God damn it.
Let us know if any of you disagree. Look, we did a whole episode on it. It's an amazing album.
It's one of my favorites.
It's underrated because the band got a shitty reputation, and that's it. It's an amazing album. But our top 2 Here's the problem. Evil has been on his hill for Super Unknown as like one of, if not the greatest rock albums of all time.
Album.
Well, I am on a
Just
hill as
album.
well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, album. I'm on a hill as well, and I've been on it since this album came out, and it's the Blue Album by Weezer. I think to me, it's top 5 best rock albums of all time. It's perfect. And we can't I don't think we can 1 and 2 it. I don't know how.
I told you I gave up. I've given up.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Points don't matter.
I
don't mind.
Like, what's the argument? How do you argue? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like I said, if I had to pick a 1, 2, 3 right now, the year to date, 94, Q1, Q2, it would be Super Unknown, 9 Inch Nails, STP, and I would put the Blue Album as probably at 4.
Okay.
Maybe Nas. Like honestly, that's arguing not for me, but for everyone. I think that.
Yeah.
If I were to go to bat for everybody, like Nas could be 2, 3, 4. I can't put it above the hill. I'm building a fucking mountain range in 94. Let's be real. And the highest peak is I got to stick with that. So
let us know what you all think. Let us know. I mean, it surprised me. We did something for the first quarter and we actually got a lot of feedback on it, on what the best album was between Super Unknown, Downward Spiral, and Dookie. Yeah. And it ended up being a tie between Dookie and Super Unknown. It surprised me how many people aren't huge Downward Spiral people.
That's me too.
Which I'm fine with. That's fine. But now that we are here, where does Purple and the Blue Album stand with those? That's my question to you people. Is, if I do think Weezer takes the edge. I think the Blue Album is kind of rock perfected, where Evil thinks that about Super Unknown. So where are you all on
That's
all this?
good questions.
Yeah.
These are fun conversations to
they are, damn it.
Have opinions.
It's good
about.
music.
Yeah.
Hey, that's quarter 2, everybody. That's it. We've got I don't know which one of those are going to get kicked off, because I don't remember, because I haven't even looked at fucking Q3 yet, because this is too goddamn overwhelming.
It gets Q4 is I'm not going to say it's the worst quarter, but it is. I don't think there are.
Thank God.
Q4, I think it'll be a softer landing with Q4. Q3 is going to shake some shit up, I think. Do you know what's happened in between our Q1 talk and today? And I haven't even had a chance to listen to this yet. I mean, I listened to the music, but not the album.
Oh, you got Dummy.
Yeah, I got Dummy. I haven't even played it because
we're going to talk about that album in 3 episodes. That's in 3 episodes. I don't know, but I bet at least one of those albums are going to end up on the 10 out of 10 wall. So we'll see. Join us next week, though, because we have another opportunity for the 10 out of 10 wall. It's my turn, motherfuckers. We're talking the Blue Album. DL's 10 out of 10s, Rachel Evil and I, we're going to talk Weezer's debut album. I mean,
it's all right.
Find out if it'll be on the 10 out of 10 wall.
How many Weezer albums are 10 out of 10, do you think?
One.
That's the question. Just one?
One.
That's
yes.
it?
I am a staunch defender of Pinkerton. I think Pinkerton is fucking brilliant for
we talked
kind
about
of the opposite. We did for kind of the opposite reasons of the Blue Album. It's messy. It's dirty.
Yeah.
They're just in the fucking studio having fun and screaming yeah and shit like that. But it's not a perfect album. It's not time to go into what happened after Pinkerton to this fucking band. But that's okay.
There were a couple of good albums that I'm a fan of.
There were a couple of good songs on a couple albums. That's how I feel. I feel the Green Album massively fucking overrated. Massively. And then the only one that I thought, well, you know what? It's not time for that. God damn it. It's not time for that. Join us next week for the Blue Album. Evil, we got a couple months to calm down, and then we have another quarter to go over.
Jesus. Oh, and another hill for me to fucking die on too. Jesus Christ.
Oh. Hey, thanks for joining me. It's been real, right?
Thanks for
putting you through this.
Yeah. I guess I'm still on. after my fruitcakes revelation.
I forgot about that. We'll see what happens in the edit. I can just take it all out.
Dude, that's true. Good point.
Don't tell me to listen to it, Evil. Is that what you're going to do? That's what you're going to do, huh?
Tell you to listen to fruitcakes? No. I was going to say,
Oh, it
go
sounded
watch
like you're going to
that.
be like, dude, just go listen to it.
No,
I
go
will watch the Zach Wild video. That's what
watch
you're
the
saying,
Zach
right?
Wild, the MTV Unplugged Zach Wild thing. I'm telling you, it is.
I will go do that while you all go watch Sabotage on David Letterman.
There you go.
VerseCourseFirst.com at VerseCourseFirstPod. Hey, everybody. We love you. Good night and good luck.